Kumusta? Today we will be talking about an overview of the Philippines and an overview of the Tagalog language. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So here we're going to start. Isang overview ng Pilipinas, or an overview of the Philippines. Let's get started. Let's do an overview of Tagalog to begin with. Tagalog is one of the national languages of the Philippines. The Philippines has two. Tagalog is one of those national languages. Tagalog is also known as Filipino, so sometimes you'll hear Tagalog, sometimes you'll hear Filipino. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints refers to it as Tagalog, so going forward, I will similarly refer to it as Tagalog. The other major languages, there are so many. There are hundreds and hundreds of languages in the Philippines. The three big ones are Tagalog, Cebuano in the southern half, and Hiligaynon in the central Philippines. Tagalog is spoken across all of the Philippines, but each has their major languages found throughout, despite having Tagalog as well. There are 23.8 million mother tongue speakers of Tagalog and 45 million second language speakers. So that proves no matter where you go in the Philippines, people speak Tagalog. They speak Tagalog, whether or not it's their first language, which is absolutely terrific. It makes it easier for those called to speak Tagalog. Generally speaking, Filipinos love foreigners who speak Tagalog. And however limited it is, however fluent it is, you speak a little bit, and most Filipinos just absolutely love that. And they love that you're trying to learn their language and their culture. Now here's an overview of the alphabet itself. Tagalog consists of 20 letters, A to Y. You'll notice it's very, very similar to the English alphabet, except for the inclusion of this NG letter. NG, or nga, is a little bit weird. We don't have that in English, or at least we don't treat it like a letter in English. We have that sound in English, like for example with words sing-along, or ringing, ringing. We have that sound, but it's a lot more common in Asian languages and cultures, such as Tagalog and in the Philippines. So there's the 20 letters. Tagalog also has 7 adopted letters. Tagalog has a lot of influence from languages outside of the Philippines, such as Spanish and English. So you'll notice letters such as C, F, J, Q, V, X, and Z. You'll notice these letters, even though they're technically not a part of the Tagalog language. So you'll still see them, but they're technically not a part of it. Tagalog is spelt the way it is pronounced. So once one learns all the pronunciation rules of the Tagalog alphabet, I could hand them a Tagalog book, like the Tagalog Book of Mormon, and they could read it like a native. It's so straightforward with the rules that are in place. You may not understand what you're reading, but you can still sound like a native. That's the beauty of the Tagalog alphabet. Again, an overview of the Philippines. There are 2 national languages, Tagalog and English. It shows how prevalent English really is in the Philippines. Everybody studies English, from young up to college age and above. Everybody studies English. There are over 7,000 islands in the Philippines with a population of 105 million individuals, 105 million Filipinos. These next 2 points are really important. The Philippines was colonized by the Spanish for roughly 300 years. So you're going to notice a huge influence of Spanish into the Tagalog language. Even though linguistically speaking, Tagalog and Spanish are not related at all. Grammatically, whatever, what have you, they're not related at all. But because of this colonialization, there's a lot of adopted Spanish words. Like for example, the Tagalog word for how are you is kumusta, similar to the Spanish como está. So very, very similar, and you'll notice lots of similarities. The Philippines was later taken over by the Japanese and the Americans. So you'll similarly see lots of influence of Japanese and English into the Tagalog language. An overview of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and its influence and presence in the Philippines. As of July 2019, there are 23 missions in the Philippines with 107 stakes. There are 2 working temples, as this one found above, the Manila Temple and the Cebu Temple. There's 1 groundbroken temple, that's this one down here. That's in Urdaneta, or the northern half of the Philippines. So you have the Urdaneta Temple with the Manila Temple in the central area and the Cebu Temple in the southern half of the Philippines. And then you have 2 newly announced temples, one in the very southern half of the Philippines and one just a few hours away from Manila in the greater Manila area. The church has coming close to about 1 million total members in the Philippines, and that includes less active members, which is good, which is good. Here's a map of the Philippines going forward. So this northern half is where Tagalog is primarily spoken. This is where you find the Manila Temple and the Urdaneta Temple, which has been announced and groundbroken. In this middle half down here is where you're going to find the Hiligaynon speakers. And then the southern half over here is the Cebuano speakers. Notice Cebu, where Cebuano gets its name, Cebu. That's where the other working temple is, and the announced temple down here on the main island of Mindanao going forward. That is an overview of the Philippines. Very beautiful, very straightforward. You can find more by Googling it, but if you have any other questions, we can talk about it when we meet. Salamat.